It's Alan Cox. Thanks for showing up. Say hi to Bill Squire. He's right over there.
Hey, creepy hugs.
Mary Santora's here.
Hi. Hello.
In the heezy, as the kids say. I believe they still say that. And Poundcake is back in Studio G.
Afternoon, white people. Hello.
How you feeling? Do you hear yourself?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. Want to make sure we have a good connection so we can all connect in a meaningful way. If you'd like to join us today, please do. If you have time, you want to do it over the phone, 216-578-1007, 800-348-1007. 35192 is where you can text me. AlanCoxShow.com. You can watch live there. We've got Dillery Fipsipper behind the controls today. And so I feel good about that. I was just talking to Stansbury. We went to the Kiss show last night here in Cleveland. They said it was their very last show that they would ever do in Cleveland, Ohio. Their end of the road tour. I had never seen a full Kiss show. And so I thought, hey, let's go see Kiss. My son came in. He was my plus one. We upgraded some people, which could not have been more fun, by the way. We do a Show Your Buzzard thing in a lot of shows. It was my first time doing it. And I found this couple who were coming back from getting food. My son and I went way up into the nosebleeds, and I'm looking for people, and I see a lot of families. That's the thing at the Kiss shows now. It's a lot of kids who have probably...
generational, yeah.
It's multi-generational. It's kids who have grown up on their parents' Kiss records. So it's a lot of kids with their faces painted. It is, I think, easily the only band that you'll see boomers painting their faces, by the way. Wasn't a lot of that at the Jimmy Buffett shows. I don't recall a lot of face painting at the Buffett shows.
That happens after the show.
At the Kiss shows, they're unabashed in their love for that band. And so that's why you see so many people. That is not a crowd that doesn't wear the shirt of the band they're going to see. A lot of people, they had clearly just bought their shirt.
Oh,
The
nice and
merch,
crisp.
you can still see the fold lines in it, right? The line for the merch when we first got into the RoMoFiHo was bananas. And those shirts are like the T-shirts are like $60 a pop, right? The merch line, crazy, because they're like, oh, this is the last run, whatever. And so Corey Roddick was there, and Stansbury and we were all there, and each of us had floor tickets so that we could upgrade people that we would see in buzzard gear. And so my son and I go up into the rafters, man, and I'm looking around, and people must have thought I was crazy because I'm like kind of squinting and staring because it's dark up there, but everybody's wearing Kiss T-shirts. So I go back down a little bit. And as we're getting ready to kind of go back out into the middle part there, whatever your outer ring is called, where you go get a beer, I said, let's go get another beer.
The concourse.
Concourse, thank you. I'll back out into the concourse. And we're going to go get another beer. And this woman and her husband are walking back in. They both have Buzzard baseball T-shirts on. And he's holding a couple of hot dogs. She's holding a couple of beers. And she locks eyes with me. And she knows who I am. And she knows what I'm doing. And I look at them. And I go, do you guys want to go down to the floor? And this woman practically starts crying.
That's great. That's awesome.
Melanie Gantz is her name. It could not have, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't just like putting people on the floor. We put them in the third row.
That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
For Kiss.
For Kiss, did she have sunglasses? Because that's bright.
They were up in like they were like up in 218 or something.
Her hair got singed off. That's a good upgrade.
Boy, God bless Eric Singer, the longtime drummer for Kiss. He and Tommy Thayer, you know, they're the newest guys in that band, but they've still been with the band for 30 years. It's always been the Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons show. And so whoever else is in that band, if it is the same as it ever was, those guys are just considered salaried employees. Even though they've been with the band for 30 years. I don't think they care because they're like, look, we're making money. Those guys probably make like 80 grand a show, right? Eric Singer, who is the longtime drummer for Kiss, he is from Euclid. And I didn't stay for the whole show last night, so I don't know if they gave him a shout-out.
Who opened?
Paul Stanley's kids band.
Oh, really?
Called Amber Wild.
Oh.
And all four of these dudes look like they were in 4 different bands. And so, and my son and I were laughing. We all were. We were laughing because right before they play their last song, he goes, "I'd like to thank my dad." And there's no cool way to say that from the stage. You know, you were in your garage a couple of weeks ago. Now you're on the Kiss tour in front of 20,000 people every night.
He was never in a garage if his dad's, was it Paul Stanley's kid?
Paul Stanley's son is fronts this band.
Also, how old is his son? Like 50?
No, he's probably not 30 yet, mid-20s. No, like young kid. And, you know, we want to thank the whole Kiss crew. I mean, because it is a whole, I mean, again, Kiss is one of those productions where you can't believe they were able to set it up in 24 hours. There's no cool way to say thanks. I want to thank my dad, you know, from the stage, but he did. And you're kind of like, okay. And I mean, the band was fine. But again, Paul Stanley's kid or not, you would have been playing bars in Calabasas, you know, for the next 10 years. And because they were fine. They were a perfectly serviceable 4-piece rock and roll band, but it was nothing I heard where I would have been like, man, those guys are the next wave of rock and roll, you know, like that. So good for them.
But without all the stuff, you're probably saying the same thing about Kiss. The Kiss is just the Monkees with pyro and makeup.
Well, I mean, Kiss is a real band, with all due respect to one Corey Roddick, who loves both the Monkees and Kiss, you know. Yeah, Kiss has been doing this for a long, long time, and nobody puts on a show like they do. So it was a lot of fun.
The setup is insane.
Yeah, it's bananas.
It would be crazy to see Kiss in their prime with that setup because there's so much more they can do technologically now. But the guys are in their late 70s.
Well, Gene Simmons is 74. Paul Stanley is 71 years old. And, you know, they're not moving around too much because those costumes are so goddamn heavy, and these guys are in their 70s now. So I fully understand that. And they don't have the giant supernova light bulb Kiss logo anymore, right? Now it's all video screens, and it looks cool. I mean, it all looks great. Tons of pyro. We were in like section 108. We were a couple of rows off the floor. We had good seats. And we could feel the heat. So, again, circling back to Eric Singer, who's their longtime drummer, I don't know how this dude is not, like, on fire every night. This guy, the back of this guy must look like he goes tanning every you know. But a lot of heat and a lot of... We didn't stay for the whole show, but we saw...
What was your favorite song they played?
My favorite. I mean, I don't know. I like Deuce a lot. They used to open with Deuce. Now they open with Detroit Rock City. But it was just a good, you know.
Cleveland?
Listen.
Oh, boo.
Well, that's why I had initially bought tickets to see them in Detroit because that was the plan before they had set the Cleveland date. I ended up eating those tickets. But, no, it was great. I mean, we saw what we wanted to see. You know, I told my son, I go, even if you're a diehard Kiss fan, really nobody wants to hear anything past 96 from these guys.
What do you want to hear from 96?
They want to hear. Well, I think they played something off of Sonic Boom, and you know.
I feel like what was their disco album?
I Was Made for Loving You is a big song, and they still play it because it's had like a second life.
It's had a second life, but I feel like that's the last song you really. I mean, unless you go real deep with.
Well, no, that was
that Tito. That's Tito just walking by.
Yeah, Tito Francona.
I Was Made for Loving You was 79. I mean, these guys through the 80s where they took the makeup off. That's all still great stuff. Lick It Up and War Machine. That's all great.
Is your son super into Kiss, or was this kind of just something to do?
He came as like a goof. I hit him up last week, and I said, hey, long shot, would you want to come in and see Kiss? And he was like, hell yeah, I want to go see Kiss.
Okay.
So anyway, he thought it was going to be a goof, but he was kind of like, these guys are like legit.
This is fun.
I said, yeah,
it looks like a fun show no matter what.
Nobody works harder than these guys. So, I mean, from the jump, Paul Stanley's voice sounded shredded. So they're still doing what they're doing, and it was a lot of fun. We did, Gene Simmons played, they played Calling Dr. Love. And Gene Simmons, at 74, is still trying to milk it. Like, hey, I'm the sex god, and blah, blah, blah. So at the end, he's really milking the end.
Did he ask if you wanted vodka and orange juice?
There was some of that, yeah.
One of our customers went and saw him in Detroit and said, I couldn't concentrate on the show because I was reminded of how you guys make fun of Paul Stanley and how exact it is.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm like, yeah.
Who wants vodka and orange juice? Yeah, when they go into cold gin, I told my son, I go, this is what they're going to do, and that's kind of what they did. But behind them on the screen, because they're celebrating 50 years in the end of the road, the screen, the huge screen behind them is all old concert footage. And you find yourself looking at that more than looking at them. You're like, God, those guys, when they were at the peak of their powers, they were just unstoppable, you know? So it was a good time, but we left right after they finished Calling Dr. Love, about an hour plus in, because Gene Simmons is up there really milking the end of that song. He's like, you know who I am. And then he goes, little girls, who am I? And my son goes, what, bro? So I go, I think. And then they were like, hey, we're going to play something from 1974. I'm like, I think it's time to go.
But the little girls are now 45-year-old women who are like, oh my God, Gene Simmons.
But at a Kiss show, there's little girls there. So, like, that's weird, too.
You think that they're still, like, hooking up with groupies and they're 7?
No, because Gene Simmons was trying to be a coxman well into his 60s, and he finally... he finally made an honest woman as Shannon Tweed, so he's wearing his wedding ring. No, those days are long gone.
Question.
And Paul Stanley's been married for a while. And what?
What do you mean by voices shredded? Is that good or bad?
Oh, he just sounded like this has already been a long tour, and he's still hitting those notes.
Okay.
And that ain't easy, man. I mean, so, yeah. So I think they did they very clearly went into their show archive, you know, the in-between song banter. There's always been a lot of that with Kiss, but this time there seemed to be more of it because he was very clearly trying to catch his breath in between songs. But he's like, we go back with you guys to the Richfield Coliseum. Be like, woohoo! And the Gund Arena, woohoo! And Swingos, woohoo! You know?
Swingos, wow.
So they clearly did their research city to city, and that's very smart. That's why people love that band, because they
give
kind
you
of
a
do
night
that
to
thing.
remember.
Yeah, it's just one big party. It was a lot of fun, and Corey and Stansbury were there, and we were all having a good time. So, okay, I'm late. I got to take a break here. If you want to send a text for anything, 35192. You can watch if you like at AlanCoxShow.com.
The Alan Cox Show. Everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app.
Or whatever smart device you have.
Just tell it to play the Alan Cox Show on iHeartRadio.
Now you can